Good afternoon. Happy Tuesday, everyone. We are back, and I have the wonderful Jenna with us, and we're going to talk about energy production. So stay tuned, and we will be right back. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hello, hello. I was muted. I
You were
apologize.
muted, but you were back, my friend.
I don't know about everybody watching, but that intro gets me pumped up.
Wait a minute. Get it.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I am excited to have you back. I'm really excited about today's topic because it's near and dear to me. Energy is everything. And today you're going to talk about energy production. So without further ado, my friend, take it away, Miss Jenna.
Awesome. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Jenna. I'm a mom, I'm a nurse, I'm a wife, I'm a homeschooler. And my favorite thing to do is teach. And so I'm blessed, totally blessed to have met Patricia because she's giving this platform to all of us, I believe, to help bring, I'm going to say my word that I'm feeling right now is clarity to the world that we live in. It's quite, there's so many things out on the internet. So anyway, I am here today to talk to you about energy production. And so hopefully, what my outcome is to help you understand that you do have control and the power over what type of energy that your body is producing physically. And I want to invite you at any moment in this video to share this out on any platform that you see fit for somebody who needs it. Tag them in the comments below for somebody who needs to hear it, or just save it. There should be a little save button on whatever platform you're watching to come back and watch it again, because it's going to be really great, short and sweet and to the point. So I am going to go on a limb and assume that everybody here has heard of the saying or the truth. It is an absolute fact that the energy that you put off is the energy that you will receive back. Hey, Sabrina, love. So the energy that you put off is the energy that you receive back. And hopefully, if you have heard of that, just, say yes in the comments or talk back and forth to us, whatever you want to do. But I'm not here to talk about that kind of energy. Right? So I'm not going to talk about the mental, the emotional, the spiritual energy that is put off and received and very much working for us or against us. I'm not going to talk about that energy today. I'm going to put my nursing hat on and get a little bit scientific, just a tiny bit, but I'm going to break it down super simple for you to understand that, hey, I do have control and I do have the power over what my metabolism is actually producing, my physical energy, the physical energy production inside of my body, inside of my cells. And unfortunately, through my training as an RN and even training that doctors receive, this topic is not in our training, right? So I am here to bring forth the truth that is suppressed for all of us, actually. So one concept that I would like for everybody to understand before we get right into this is, if our metabolism, which is our energy producer in our body, if our metabolism is not producing energy, we're not alive, right? We die, we're dead. And so what keeps us alive is our metabolism's ability to create energy molecules. And
Jenna, you're muted. Somehow you're
Oh no. What's
yeah.
the last thing you heard?
It happens.
It does. What I was saying, I don't know what the last thing you heard was, but I don't want anyone to watch this and then skip over the message like, oh, I don't need any more energy. No, I am talking about the energy that keeps you living, breathing, alive as a human being. So I do want you to tune in. And hopefully in the next truly 5 to 10 minutes, it's going to click for you. I hope you have a light bulb moment like I did when I received this information and it clicked for me. And I would invite you to even put a light bulb in the comments, like a light bulb emoji, if this does resonate with you and you had your light bulb moment. Energy is everything. So let's get down to the basics. So scientifically, and how our metabolism runs is we fuel it. We fuel our body with food. Okay. And I'm not going to tell you how to eat certain things to eat. There are a lot of beliefs out there that meat is good or meat is bad, or supplementing is good or supplementing is a waste. There are so many opinions on both sides of the spectrum. I'm just going to bring you what I know to be true. Okay. So we can have a diet conversation later if you want, as far as what I believe humans were created to live off of and eat, but whatever, that's not going to be today. So we can feed our body if we feed our body nutrients. And has anybody ever heard of the term macronutrient? Or on the flip side, micronutrients. And all that means is that the food that we consume, the energy that we consume, is either a large molecule, which is a big macronutrient, or a small molecule, a micronutrient. So I'm just going to focus on our macronutrients for today. And there are 3. Protein, that's a macronutrient. Carbohydrates is a macronutrient. Fat is a macronutrient. And we need these molecules in large amounts. We need these nutrients in large amounts, which is probably why we focus on them so much and in our dietary world and our dietary language. So there are only 2 fuel sources or 2 types of energy molecule that our body can produce and use and thrive and live off of. And that is sugar or fat. When you consume a carbohydrate or even a protein, if you consume too much protein, this is true as well, what I'm about to say. If you consume a carbohydrate molecule, which I'm going to draw a little bit here for you, it breaks down. Let me actually go ahead. When you consume a carbohydrate, it breaks down to glucose, aka sugar. So I'm just going to write that there. If you consume too much protein, it also breaks down to sugar or glucose, or it's used by the body for muscle synthesis. If you consume fat, it breaks down. So this is where the energy production comes from, the energy molecule. Fat breaks down to what we call a ketone. All right, so consumption of a carbohydrate will have your metabolism running in a sugar metabolism. Or eating enough fat will have you running in a ketone metabolism. So for today's purposes, we are going to focus on this and this. And it's probably backwards for you guys, isn't it? Oh, perfect. So a sugar metabolism and a ketone metabolism. And I'm going to pause there for just a hot second. And I'm going to say this. In the past century, I'm going to play it safe there and say century. In the past century, we have been experiencing an abundance of resources for life, an abundance of resources in the grocery store, an abundance of resources when we open up our refrigerator door. And that abundance has led us to the overconsumption of carbohydrates, aka sugar. And we have been running on we have adapted as human beings in the last century to run on sugar primarily for fuel. If you don't like that word sugar, it's okay. You can replace it with the word glucose, right? It's the same dang thing. Sugar, glucose, whatever it is that you want to say. And even in the 1950s, we have the inception of the food pyramid. If you're watching this from America, we have the food pyramid that very much tells us to consume primarily for fuel carbohydrates, the wheats, just take a look at it. And what we have found that is a direct correlation to the inception of that food pyramid is obesity, diabetes, our metabolic health, which remember, this is our metabolism. So if we're talking about our metabolic health, is plummeting. And we in the healthcare world and the research world are figuring out that, oh my gosh, maybe the food pyramid was wrong, right? And so you're seeing in the market, in the food marketplace, although the truth is starting to present itself, and I have heard multiple scientific researchers actually say this themselves, we have been trying since the inception of the food pyramid to prove that we as human beings should be running primarily on carbohydrates and that fat is bad for you, and that carbs are the thing, right? And I'm not here to demonize either one of them. I want to make that very clear. Both are necessary for health. We'll get to that. But what the researchers are saying, and I've heard multiple researchers say this, and doctors, the research that is trying to prove that fat is bad for our health and for our metabolic state, and I quote, one of them said, Dr. Volek, Jeff Volek is his name, said, the research is coming up with more holes than Swiss cheese. They just are having trouble proving that fat is not for us, right? So Patricia, I would love to know, is this new information for you, or have you been hearing bits and pieces about this? And
yeah, I have been hearing bits and pieces about it, but it's nice to have a perspective from a women's point of view, just because women's bodies are different from men's bodies. So that whole energy function versus the male energy, but then this information that's in the middle, from a scientific standpoint, it's fascinating to me to learn more, to try to, from a synchronicity standpoint, how does that align with all of this?
Yeah. I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. And I've been on this journey of really digging deep into this for about 4 years. Mm-hmm. And I knew something wasn't right before then because I wasn't feeling right. I was 28 and I felt like I was 98 and I couldn't understand why I was doing everything right. And if you guys are documentary watchers, by the way, I'm going to give you 2 documentaries that will help piece what I'm saying, help piece it all together, and maybe even in easier terms to understand. One of them is called The Magic Pill. I believe that you have to purchase that. It's not free anymore. It used to be on Netflix. I think you have to purchase through like Amazon Prime, maybe. I don't know. The other one is called Fat, and like a colon, Fat, a documentary. So Fat, colon, a documentary, I believe is what that one is called. And it truly helps you understand ancestrally how we did things. What about the tribes and the islands that, the first world, we call them third world countries. What about them? How are they eating? How is their health? And it is superb compared to our first world country living people. Right. It's so interesting. And it comes down to what metabolism are you running in? So with that being said, the food pyramid is, I believe, starting to, it is changing. They've kind of pulled the vegetables down and taken away half of the amount of the carbohydrates that we should be eating. It's slowly starting to change and adapt to what the research is actually saying. We could do a a teaching and a video on where did the food pyramid even come from. That's one of my favorite topics because you ask questions.
Right.
Why was it invented? How did it come from, or where did it come from? So we can do that another day. But the market, the food industry is like a couple of $1 billion industry.
Right.
They can't just flip that. They can't, although it's fraudulent, throw heart happy on some of the things that are for sure not heart happy or heart healthy and quickly remove it tomorrow. This is a process where things are going to have to change slowly, but they are changing. And I promise in the last 4 years, I have seen it. So there is hope. So back to my little graph. This is where you have the power to either consume or to either produce a sugar metabolism or a ketone metabolism. I'm going to use fuel for a vehicle as an example of fuel for our bodies here, and why one is more superior than the other in a couple of examples. So think about your car. Think about pulling up to a gas station, which I know nobody wants to think about right now, and putting gas in your vehicle. When you get to the gas pump, you are presented with 3 types of fuel, right? You have the unleaded and something else. Well, I don't even know what they're called, but you have the 87, maybe 89, and like 90 something. So we have the cheaper gas, the middle grade gas, and the more expensive gas. That's the only point I want you to take home here. And for this purpose, actually, I'm going to put something right here, another bubble. When you put the cheaper gas in your vehicle, the 87, your vehicle will run, right? It'll run. But because you've been taught perhaps that the engine doesn't last as long.
It'll sputter quite a bit.
It will sputter. The engine doesn't last as long. We have a regular vehicle and then we have a fancy vehicle, and my husband will not let me put the cheap gas in the fancy vehicle because we're taking care of that vehicle, I guess, more than our other one. And we want that engine to last longer. So there's more sludge buildup in the engine. It doesn't last as long. It doesn't perform at its best. Same with our body. You put the 92 gas in or whatever it is, the most expensive gas, you're not having those problems. It's a cleaner fuel source. It is a more effective fuel source. It lasts longer. The engine will last longer. So from a human standpoint, if you're looking to age slower or more gracefully, to live a longer life, and to operate with just a great quality of life, then this topic is for you. And I think that's everybody. I think that's every human. So we'll get our handy dandy board back out. Sugar can be compared to the cheap gas at the gas tank. Our body will survive on it. We can thrive for a period of time. We age quicker. And I don't want to make any medical claims here, but life is longer through multiple studies if we're ever here. Okay. So really quickly, this is the cheap gas. The mid-grade gas is protein, which protein breaks down to sugar anyway, but mid-grade gas, and then the expensive gas, more effective fuel for our body. Is that clear? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So this energy production from a carb to sugar or fat to ketone happens in our cells inside of our mitochondria. Does anybody know what a mitochondria is? Because we probably learned about it in 8th grade science or something, middle school science, and it's one of my favorite parts of the cell to study. It's like the powerhouse of the cell. We used to believe that it was the nucleus of the cell. It's now the mitochondria, that life is breathed. Energy is produced. So if my mitochondria is taking in a carbohydrate, this is important as well, especially for anybody with respiratory issues or athletes who would like to do more with less oxygen. Listen up, right? When my cell takes in a carb molecule, it takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 chemical reactions. All these chemical reactions use up a certain amount of oxygen for each reaction. It takes 6 reactions to make this one molecule of energy. One. It's getting messy. If our mitochondria takes in a fat molecule, it only takes 2 or 3. I got to look into that. Chemical reactions. For some reason, I think it's 2. 3 chemical reactions to make 1 molecule of energy. So this is why it is more effective, because we can do more. Our body can do more with more oxygen, as not so much oxygen is being taken up to create the energy. So very, very important for anybody on the respiratory spectrum of or dealing with a respiratory issue. But truly too for the function of life. So before I move on to, okay, Jenna, how can I apply this to my life, or how can I make sure I'm running, my mitochondria is producing the ketones and not so much sugar? Do we have any questions? Oh, Bridget is here too. Hi, Bridget.
Bridget says, oh, yes.
Oh, yes. She's my Kansas sister.
Yeah.
All right. So this is the science. Now let's break it down and make it a little more understandable. Actually, a thought that just popped into my mind, and I like to honor thoughts that pop up into my mind, is this. Our mitochondria, this is a healthy functioning mitochondria. This breaking down to this and this breaking down to this, right? Our mitochondria can become dysfunctional. That is when you will see all types of disease, including cancer. Cancer is a really, really big one. And what research is showing is that in cancer cells, the mitochondria is dysfunctional, and the mitochondria can only use this. Watch. The dysfunctional mitochondria can only produce this side
sugar.
Yeah. So could you imagine, let me thought provoke you here for a minute. Could you imagine if we took away this and only allowed this? Remember, we have the power to produce what we want to produce. Just pause and think on that for a minute. It is a huge claim. Once you're hearing what I'm saying here, what happens in a cancer cell if we take this away? Does it starve? Okay. So I encourage you, if that message hit you in the heart just now, to go research it. You're going to find a ton of information on that topic. Okay.
Well, I will tell you, looking at that chart visually, because I like visuals, seeing the sugar side and being a cancer survivor myself, and they put you through a lot of information. Sugar came up a lot, and I was very fortunate to be at Mayo Clinic because they also supported the holistic side of things. And there was a lot of symposiums that you could go to get information. And it really triggered something in me to be mindful of like what I consume and what has sugar in it and the right types of sugar, because it like feeds it. I'm not making any claims. I'm just saying this is my personal experience of what the doctors spoke to me about. And it's mind blowing to see how many things have sugar in it and how it affects the energy. And I wasn't feeling, you get your, energy's high one day and then it's not, but you think that like you said, like the Cheerios or whatever, it says heart healthy or whatever, but it's really not when you really take a closer look. So this is very powerful stuff. And I know we have to condense everything, but
right.
I'm just really glad that we're speaking on this topic.
Yes. And honestly, your testimony of the doctors, the cancer centers and the doctors even talking about that is huge for where we are today, because they used to not. And even some still have zero idea because we're not educated on this. It is very, very sad. But I do believe that as a society, we're shifting. There's a huge shift happening in healthcare, in the public school system, in, I mean, life, just everything. So very excited about that. So in the next 1 minute, 2 minutes, I want to give you some practical applications for how can I manipulate my metabolism? How can I make my metabolism produce ketones, which is the sustainable human energy source, right? I wore this shirt today. And if you have questions, for sure, reach out to either one of us. Patricia can connect me or you to me if you have some deeper questions, because not only is this great for life longevity, quality of life, medical things, right? But also just to feel good. I mean, energy that doesn't go away, brain fog that isn't there, right? Better mood. If you're dealing with a struggle with your moods. Oh, we can talk about hormones all day. We can talk about sleep. We can talk about everything.
So many things.
So some practical, I'm going to give you 4 things that you can do in your life to make sure that your body is producing a ketone. So basically, to make your body burn fat, right? That's the point. People who burn fat are more healthy, and this is why. Okay. These are signaling molecules. Ketones are signaling molecules to our body, to our cells, to our genes, telling them what to do. We're born in ketosis, by the way. So this metabolism is called glycolysis. This metabolism is called ketosis. Babies are born in ketosis. If they are exclusively breastfed, they remain in ketosis. But again, the inception of the food pyramid and the societal pressures, we have adapted from ketosis, burning fat and ketones for fuel, to burning sugar for fuel, and it has not done us justice. So we need to adapt back. And this is no bark. My dog is sitting next to me. I usually put her out. I apologize. But as I was talking about a shift occurring, I believe that this shift is also happening, and we will, as human beings, as Homo sapiens, get back to burning our native fuel source for energy and then being healthier and feeling incredible. So one thing that you can do if we want to talk about the consumption of food is consume a low carbohydrate diet. I don't care how you're eating, but controlling the amount of carbs that you eat is superior over everything that you do. Now, when you lower a macronutrient, any of them, you have to increase the other. So you want to make sure that you're getting enough fat and enough protein. You can take it to the extreme and do a ketogenic diet. And yes, you can do a ketogenic diet without eating all the meat and the cheese. It's possible. You can do a more modified keto diet. And again, I didn't want to talk about diets, but I think this is the best way to get the point across. So just increase that good fat, healthy fat, and increase the protein, not high protein, just increase it and make sure you're getting enough. For anybody who has children who you're watching with obesity or diabetes or anything like that, please let me know. My physician here is running a nationwide study. He sends out this low carb for any budget book and a food list, which I don't know where I put it, to families and children who are in the 95th percentile of weight to correct everything, to get them healthy again. That's for children ages 6 to 16, I believe. So if you know anyone and you think that they would be interested, let us know. He will send you all of that information. I just have to get you to him, right? Mm-hmm. Then you have fasting. Fasting is an incredible tool, whether it's intermittent fasting, prolonged fasting, 24-hour fasting, whatever type of fasting, OMAD, there's 13,000 names for it. Just refraining from food all day long and all night long. We should be fasting at least 12 hours a day. That's in our sleep and in the hours before and after. But there's a lot of benefit to fasting, including the increased production of ketones from fat metabolism, right? So that is one thing that you can look into. And then fasting will produce for you this ketone energy, ketone metabolism, ketosis, intermittently. It happens whenever you're fasting. The moment you overconsume carbohydrates, you're back to burning sugar for fuel. So just know that. Exercise is number 3. Strenuous exercise is great as well. Anybody ever ran like a marathon or something, and then as you're running, you get that runner's high?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes, the energy has kicked in. It's great. That is ketosis. Your body legit, when you were running, stopped burning. It burned through all the sugar, and now it's grabbing for your fat stores. You are now in ketosis. Again, this is an intermittent thing. You are in that ketosis metabolism while you're exercising and just for a couple hours after. The 4th, and this is a way that was actually found through the Navy SEALs, or in the Navy, by the Navy SEALs, is exogenous ketone supplementation. So you can put in a shaker bottle a powder. I only recommend a pure therapeutic grade of exogenous ketones. You can put the powder in your water, and within 30 minutes, your body is in ketosis. And this is regardless of how you're eating, which is magical. I'm always an advocate of eating well. But if you do have someone who maybe the season of life that they are in is not allowing them, or they have chosen not to in that season to eat well, this is where the supplementation comes in so well. You drink it, you're in ketosis, better mood, energy, focus, appetite control, sleep, just to name a few. And it truly, we use them. A lot of our friends use them. And it has truly been one of the most, what's the word? It's so beneficial. It has just magnified everything I feel like about our family. I don't even have a word to put with it because it's fantastic. Sabrina loves them and drinks them. Sabrina has an incredible story as well. She's commenting on, it looks like Facebook, right? Life-changing, yes. I feel like that's so cliche to say life-changing. But anyway, that is the 4th way to get into ketosis. So to review, low-carb diet, fasting, exercise, pure therapeutic ketones. Now the pure therapeutic, you have to have a particular code to even get your hands on them. So if you're looking to trial those, again, just ask below, ask Patricia, ask me, whatever. And we can point you in the right direction of what I am going to recommend. So was that clear? Was that great? Do you feel like you have the power back to be in control of how your metabolism is running?
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's great to have the visual because it gives you a clear, defined explanation of what that is and how it works. And, the whole ketosis thing, keeping everything simple and basic is just, it's the only way to be, because I can't function on too much complexity. So I love that. And I think people are looking for something like this to understand why their energy is the way it is. So I like the crash course because, these are just things you should know. And so we're here to provide that information to you. So I know that you've got a busy day as well. And I thank you once again for coming on, and that you have an open invitation to always come back and bring us some more valuable information. Do you have anything that you want to leave us besides the last little 4 tidbits?
I would just say be encouraged by the message. Don't be stressed, right?
Yeah.
And I love what Sabrina said. It is soul changing, and I have experienced that. It truly is. And Patricia, I know you have as well. Be encouraged by this message. I don't want it to stress you out. If it does, come back to it later.
Yeah.
When you're ready, right? And whatever of the 4 ways that we gave you, whatever you feel like you can grab onto that might be the easiest right now to understand or to implement, grab onto it. Patricia's whole, motto in life is find your peaceful pace. And that's what I want all of our messages to bring to you. Not stress, not overwhelm, a peaceful pace. And that is it.
That is it. Absolutely. So stay tuned. I'm going to close this out and I'll be right back. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. these are just things that you should know. And so that's what we're going to start bringing you, is things that you need to know. And we hope that you find value in it. And we hope that you have a beautiful day. If you have any questions, feel free to just let us know, because we are always here. And from my heart to yours, we love you. If you need anything, you know where to find us. Have a good day, everyone.